Hey guys, Bridget here. In this video, I want to talk about how to set up a design system for a client in Figma in 2025. Now, I myself am a designer with over a decade of experience, and over the years, I worked on many projects utilizing design systems that need to be applied for both enterprise clients as well as startups. And I can tell you that the way that you structure your design system is going to make a whole lot of difference, especially if the client is looking to scale up. And in this video, I want to just briefly condense all of the years of experience and basically tell you the structure that you should utilize. So first and foremost, I strongly encourage you not to create a design system from scratch. As you know from one of the previous videos, we actually went ahead and created a design system entirely from scratch, and I think this is a great exercise to do at least once so that you have full control and understanding of what the design system structure is all about. But after that, for client projects, you should leverage a boilerplate template. Now, I myself actually created a boilerplate template many years ago for Sketch. I'm actually in the process of refining one for Figma because what I noticed is a lot of the design systems are utilizing a lot of complexity, which especially if you're working with startups or companies that aren't enterprise companies, it's going to add a lot of unnecessary complexity to the project right off the bat. So one of my favorite design systems, for example, is the one from Untitled UI. So big shout out to the author. I think though it's not going to be the best solution for all type of projects. So these can be definitely a great starting base, but for startups that just need to get their feet off the ground, I think simplicity and working in an agile methodology is going to really make the most out of the design system at first. And you also want to establish the design system in a way which is going to be flexible. So for example, right here, we have quite a basic design system. You can see that it's all in one single page. We have some color styles which are divided into main colors, which I think is going to be one of the most important elements. And you want to identify what are the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors of the brand, and then create different shades and hues for those. And the same is going to apply for secondary dark tones, which are going to be used for text, even border styles or elements like that. And then the UI states, which I believe are going to be another pillar element in the design system. So you can see that the moment that you utilize more complex design systems, all of this is going to quickly get out of hand because you simply have too many color styles at your disposal. So that can sometimes, quantity is not really the answer. It's all about the quality and the focus. So that is going to be one of the elements to keep in mind, as well as shadows. So you definitely want to include those into the design system. And talking about the very next element, typography styles, I want you to focus on the main typography elements which you're going to focus on when working on the project. So if it's a website, of course, the H1 to the H6, and then paragraphs and all of the elements which are going to basically be the HTML tags that you're going to associate and the CSS styles. So that's going to be important. But if you're working on a web app, things might change. So you might have a typography style system which is going to be slightly different than the one that you would be used for websites. And if you have a website and a web app, you might want to consider having two separate style sheets, one for each. And before we continue, I also wanted to remind you that I'm about to launch an entire course lineup, which is still not available. I'm still working on it. And I'm super excited about it because I've been working on these courses for the past year and a half, and it's almost ready to launch. So definitely check out the channel in the next weeks for updates. Now, going back to the design system, Iconography is also another element which is very important. And when it comes to the iconography, one thing that I see most designers fail is to select a library, an icon library, which is going to be scalable. So you want to have many icons, of course, but also you want them to be scalable for both responsiveness in terms of mobile responsiveness all the way to desktop. So you wanted to check that the icon library that you're utilizing is working well on both mobile, tablet, and desktop. And also, ideally, you might want to have two different options, one for outline icons, so icons which are more simple in terms of just the outline, and another version which is going to be the fill icons, because sometimes you might want to utilize one and sometimes the other. And on my channel, I actually shot an entire video on my checklist of how I select an icon library. So these are the top points, but there's also some other nuance which I don't really want to go into this specific video. They just want to give you like a high level overview of what I'm really looking for whenever it comes to the icon library. And then of course, logo and lettermark. This is quite straightforward. You want to have it, of course, in your design system for consistency, as well as the UI components. And this is where I think a lot of the design systems actually create unnecessary complexity, especially at the start of the project, because ideally, the UI components, since they are so tailored to your specific client's brand and specific needs of the project, you wanted to start small with just the basic UI components, such as the buttons, the input fields, and whatnot, and then essentially create the design system and make it grow with time and start adding actual components which are going to be more complex in terms of the quantity of variables that we have inside. So think, for example, cards or elements such as headers, footers, those type of things, which are going to have the individual elements plus the component layout as a whole. So this would be like the first and foremost elements that I really focus on whenever I'm creating and setting up a design system for a new client. Again, I'm going to keep you updated as I'm working on this boilerplate template design system, which I'm going to share with you guys when it's available. But so far, I hope this was helpful. And if you have specific questions about design systems, please leave them in the comment section, as I'll try my best to answer them. And I'll see you in the very next video.